Hello and welcome to Timing is Everything, a program of Care Dimensions. My name is Mary Crowe, Director of Professional and Community Care Education at Care Dimensions. And today I'm thrilled to have on the show V. Ciporini, who is the District Director of the Cape Ann Veteran Services, and Brian D'Angelo, who is the Benefits Coordinator at the Cape Ann Veteran Services. Thank you both so very much.
Thank you for having us.
This is so, we're here we are. Veterans Day is upon us, but again, so important that we honor our veterans every day.
Absolutely.
And so thrilled to have you on the program. Thank you so much for taking your time out.
Thank you.
So, what I'd like to start the program by telling a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So thank you, Mary, for that wonderful introduction. So my name is V. Ciporini. I am the Cape Ann Veteran Services Director. I am also a U.S. Army veteran. I have service with the Army from 2001 to 2006. I'm originally from Camden, New Jersey, and moved or transplanted into the Gloucester, Cape Ann area in early 2008. And I've been working here since then, volunteering my time for different veteran community or veteran-centric events, and have finally been working with veterans directly for the past 4 years or so now, and I absolutely love what we have to offer our veterans and their families locally.
Oh, that's fabulous, and thank you so much for your service,
Thank
V.
you. Thank you.
My name is Brian D'Angelo. I grew up in Gloucester and Rockport. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran also. I served from 2009 to 2013. I did communications in the Navy, and after that I used my GI Bill and got my degree in communications. And I'm a little newer to the veterans, to working with the veterans community. I've only been doing it a few months, but the office we work out of was very helpful to me when I got out of the service, because a lot of times you just don't know where to turn when you need to look up these programs or these services. So I was really excited when I saw the opportunity to work for the office, an office that was instrumental to me when I came back from the service and helping me out. So I'm excited to be working with the community, with the veterans, and hopefully getting some people the help they deserve.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And again, thank you for your service as well, Brian. I am so grateful for you to be here today and truly honored. So thank you both very much. Tell me, I really want the audience to understand, because I don't think a lot of people understand what you do. I also don't feel that they understand what services they may be entitled to. And I think that is really important.
Oh, yes.
So can you describe what is the role of the Veteran Service Officer?
So we in Massachusetts are very unique, and we're very fortunate to live in such a wonderful state. Massachusetts has recognized that there are so many benefits and so many resources out there for the veteran community and for their families, that they have appointed veteran service officers in every town, city, or district, so that veterans have a veterans liaison that they can connect with if they're in need of any services, whether it's a local service, a state service, or a federal service. VSOs are pretty heavily equipped to be able to handle any question that comes through that door at any given moment of the day.
I love that. That is so important.
We are definitely very
Oh my
fortunate in
gosh.
Massachusetts.
Yeah. So what is the difference between your office and that of the Veterans Administration? Because again, I think this is a very confusing point.
And it can be, oftentimes we do get mistaken for Veterans Administration. So we work directly for the municipality. So we are a local entity, whereas the Veterans Administration is a department of the federal government. So people who are seeking benefits through the VA per se would work with the federal government. We are here as a third party per se, to help the veteran navigate that process of claiming different types of benefits, as well as accessing healthcare resources within the VA. So the VA itself has different components. There's the benefits administrative portion of it, and there's the healthcare administrative portion of it. And it can be a very daunting and a very overwhelming experience for a veteran or their surviving spouse or dependent. It can be very daunting, very intimidating for them to navigate, and we are here to help them. We're here to alleviate some of that process for them.
So that, the other thing I want to ask is about, can you talk about some of the services that you provide?
Oh,
I'm
sure.
sure there are a lot, but I think it's important again that people
Sure,
understand
sure.
that.
Yeah, we obviously help service members navigate the benefits portion, the federal aspect of it, but Brian can possibly speak on helping veterans access certain types of documents as well.
Yeah. So a lot of the veterans' benefits. The main thing that they're going to need is their discharge papers to be eligible for anything, just to prove that they were in the service. And over the years, a lot of people, they don't hang on to these things. So we have access to certain resources to track these documents down, and these documents can be the first step to getting whatever benefits these people are qualified for. And again, a lot of the times, people aren't even sure what benefits are out there.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of the calls that we get is, what can you do? What can you help me with? And everybody's different, but everybody that comes through the door, they're looking for help. And whether we're the first person they turn to, or they've been all around town getting bounced from one service to another, we're here to help them. We're here to listen to them, see what they need. And a lot of times they want somebody to talk to, and somebody that will listen to them and just try to guide them in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we're a great point of contact for all the people in the community like that.
That's wonderful. And so very important, I just want to emphasize, and I found this as well, again with my father, you got to keep your documents.
Absolutely.
Keep your documents, have them handy, because these things are going to be very necessary when pursuing various benefits that you may be entitled
Absolutely.
to. So can you be more specific too around what types of
absolutely.
things might somebody, I know everybody's different, but what might somebody be eligible for?
So earlier I mentioned how fortunate we are to live in Massachusetts. So there is a state program that Massachusetts has. It's called Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 115. It is a financial assistance program of sorts for veterans and their families who are of a low income, so indigent families and surviving spouses, and it can provide financial assistance to their families and to the veteran themselves. It can provide fuel assistance. It can provide medical reimbursement is a very big one. Obviously, we do not want to have a veteran or their spouse have to choose between paying their electric bill or paying for their prescriptions that they need so desperately. So you would work through your local veterans officer and determine if you're eligible for these resources or this financial assistance program. And again, that program itself can financially help you with monetary benefits or provide you in providing monetary benefits so that you would not have to decide or choose between paying for your groceries or paying for your electric bill over necessary medications.
Yeah. V, isn't it amazing? I don't think people realize that happens a lot.
Yes,
You know,
it does.
And if for older adults, but also again, as you're indicating with the veterans, I
Right.
think this happens more than people are even aware of.
Yes, so definitely for older adults because they're all in a fixed income. Their money has been very calculated in how they can spend it. But as well as sometimes you may have someone who may find themselves in a bind and were laid off of their work or their employment, and so where do they turn to?
Right.
They don't know, so they circle back to our office. We can see if they may be eligible for this program, and if they may not be eligible, we may begin discussing what they did in their service and see if there's a potential for a disability claim so that we can get them some sort of compensation. A VA compensation or VA claim. There was a point in our history where it was decided for you whether you were eligible to receive compensation from the VA or not. However, that's not necessarily the case anymore. We have all of these resources that are out there for us. Why not take advantage advantage of them, because if we do not take advantage of them, who's to say that they won't be here 10, 20, 30 years from now when our children and our great-grandchildren may be in need of these resources. So again, we're just here to help them navigate some of the sort of benefits and resources that they may be in need of. And again, it's not just for veterans. The spouses are also eligible for some sort of benefits, and we know this all too well. We have that particularly Vietnam era veteran who may not necessarily have had a really good experience or welcome home, and feel some sort of way with their either welcome back home or with the VA in general, and may not have wanted to ever access any resources or services from the VA or from the federal government, or anything to that extent. And here they are, coming down with some sort of ailment or some sort of life change, and they may be in need of services, or the spouse, they pass and leave the spouse behind, and now the spouse does not know what to do. You went from 2 incomes to 1 income. So again, we're here to help them navigate what they may be eligible for moving forward.
Excellent. So that go ahead, Brian.
Well, I was
Jump
also
in.
going to say, a lot of the times too, the VA, the language they use on a lot of the documents, it can be intimidating, it can be confusing for some people, and that's essentially what we're here for, is to help decipher these documents and just kind of take the hardship out of the applicants, and because we see it more often. We see these claims, we see this language, and it can be something as simple as them requesting, the VA is requesting you send them a document, but the way they word it in their paperwork is, we need this form submitted on this, and especially an older generation, they can look at that and just be completely lost.
Right.
So that's essentially what we're here for, is just to help everybody navigate the VA process and all the documents and everything, the language that they use.
And a denial can come through, but yet there's an appeal process.
Right.
There's multiple appeal processes. So a denial, oftentimes a veteran gets a denial and they may say, well, the VA doesn't care about me, so I don't want to bother with this anymore. Well, maybe the denial was there wasn't sufficient evidence. Maybe the denial was you didn't go to your appointment. Maybe the denial was there was some sort of miscommunication in the claims, and we didn't meet a specific time constraint or request that they had needed. So a denial, we can help decipher between what our next step needs to be. If we need to submit a supplemental claim, in which case we just request the VA for a supplemental claim and provide them with additional evidence that may benefit your claim. There's a higher level review. So if there is no additional evidence that there is needed, or that you have to submit to the VA on your behalf, a higher level review gives it a different set of eyes to review over all of the evidence that has already been submitted. And then of course there's the actual appeals process. So the appeals process takes some time, and we are always very upfront with our veterans and letting them know, if you want to appeal, okay, but it is a long process. If there are different avenues of approach that we can take, we will obviously make sure that the veteran accesses those approaches before the actual appeals process, because at the end of the day, we're here to benefit the veteran and what is in their best interest. So we're going to make sure that we take care of them as best as we can.
That's wonderful. Really, it's an advocate. It's an advocate for them.
Yes.
That's really important. Why is it important that the veteran or the spouse, right, go to the veteran service officer in their area?
So again, every community, every town, every district has their own VSO, but each community is different as well. So they may have different resources, different partnerships that they can connect with. So if they are in need of food, for example. We in the Cape Ann area are fortunate enough, our office in particular is very fortunate to live right across or the Open Door Pantry. So although there are a lot of organizations that help veterans make sure that they take care of their food insecurities, we partner with the Open Door directly. Brian and I are very happy to walk right up there with a veteran and make sure that they access the nutritional food that they are in need of. But making sure that you contact your local VSO so that you are aware of what is available to you locally, and so, just so that they can start developing a relationship with you, the individual person. You know, they may not be comfortable seeking mental health services, for example, but if you develop this relationship with your local VSO, in time you may feel comfortable enough to actually connect with some of these mental health services or resources that they are helping you navigate through.
Excellent. You know, and you know, I wanted to go back to, because you were talking about, you know, there's the difference too between the benefits that the people are entitled, but also the medical care.
Right.
So can you just expound a little bit on that as well?
So it is a little bit of a complex system, as with any VA, and we've been in the military, so we know nothing is as easy as it seems. So the VA does have two components. There's VBA and there's VHA. VBA is solely for benefits, Veterans Benefits Administration. So they are just there to help you navigate what sort of benefits. Monetary benefits, there's obviously VA compensation claims. So if you have a disability that may be service connected, the VA can compensate you monetarily for this condition or for these conditions that you are currently suffering from. If you are a spouse of a veteran and your husband or wife passes of any of their service-connected disability, there may be additional benefits for you as a surviving spouse. Or if you are a low-income spouse and you may not be eligible for these types of surviving spousal benefits, there's a survivor's pension that you may be eligible for. As with accessing any resources, there is an entire eligibility criteria that you need to first meet, and your VSO, your local VSO, is the best person, or some sort of agency. You know, there's a DAV that usually helps with these sorts of things as well, but some sort of veterans representative can help you navigate that daunting process of accessing these benefits. The healthcare side of it all is just that. It's the healthcare aspect of it. So if you are in need of any healthcare services, medical services, prescriptions, anything like that, referrals, you go through the healthcare sector of it. If you are in need of home health aid services, anything like that, that all goes through the healthcare side.
Hearing, vision, all of those things, healthcare,
all through
correct?
the healthcare side.
Okay, that's great.
And it's often when people are in need of these resources the most, when it can be the most overwhelming for a veteran, because you know it's almost like you wait too long. You wait till you need it when it's an emergency and you need it done yesterday. These things do take time. It is a process because they want to make sure that they are giving you the best resources and the best possible benefits for you, the veteran, and their spouse or their dependent. So it is a process, and again, we are here to help you navigate that process. But don't wait till it's too late. Don't wait till when you need it a week ago or when you need it yesterday.
We talk about that in general too. It's you know, that's usually just by human nature. People wait until things are falling down around them before they do that. And again, it sounds like it's no different certainly with the veterans that you're serving.
And if at some point in time you were told no for some reason, it doesn't mean that you can't go back a month, a year, 10 years later and try to navigate the system again, because things change on a regular basis. We learned that last August when the PACT Act was released, and now a lot more conditions are recognized, a lot more service areas where veterans served in, and the toxic exposures that they may have been exposed to in those areas, those things are now recognized.
Wow.
So for many, many years, for many decades, veterans were submitting for certain types of conditions and were receiving denials for A, B, or C reason. And in 2022, we passed a law that these conditions are now recognized as presumptive, meaning that it is as likely as it is not that if you were in this area within this time frame, that this condition that you are currently suffering from is as likely as not related to your time in service.
Go ahead. Were you going
I
to
was
say
going to say, as V was saying, just because you were denied once, you can't try again. A lot of that is what keeps veterans from seeking services again, is that stigma that the VA is not going to help me. They don't want anything to do with me. They don't care about me. They denied me for this, that, and the other thing. When, like she said, there's a whole new act, the PACT Act passed last year. So something that they may have been denied for before, now they are going to get compensated for.
Yeah.
At least.
And we are not the VA. We are here to help you. So if you are afraid to do anything with the VA, at least contact your local VSO and just start developing that relationship, or just inquire what is out there for me, the individual veteran.
Yeah. And these are things that they're entitled to.
Absolutely.
They are entitled to this.
Absolutely.
And that's the piece, because as you were talking about, that people are hesitant to do this. And I know that with my own father, there was he was reluctant. And I think for him it was more pride.
Yeah.
And you are entitled to this.
So it's funny that you say that, because oftentimes we hear time and again, well, I didn't do this. I wasn't in Vietnam, or I wasn't in war, and I wasn't here, and I wasn't there. That doesn't mean anything, okay? Whether you were in war or not, whether you were in theater or not, there are still services out there for you. It's just navigating what the process is going to be for you, the individual self.
You think it's a good idea for people to just check in regularly anyhow?
Sure.
Because you were talking about, they could come back like 10 years later. But is there a time period you think, like, check in regularly? Just keeping that pulse on things, also having that connection.
Right. It's just developing that relationship with your local VSO. We in the Cape Ann area are very fortunate to have veterans coffee socials. Our office in particular in Gloucester, we have a weekly coffee social every Friday. Rockport and Manchester has one every Saturday, and Wenham has one once a month on Tuesdays. So to just connecting in a social environment with your peers kind of begins to break down some of that barrier, breaks down some of that stigma in accessing resources, because just through conversing with one another, you get to hear what your experience was versus what your experience was, and if it's something that you are willing to take on yourself or not. And you develop that relationship with that local VSO as well.
Yeah, that's great. What other groups or organizations do you work with? You were talking about Open Door Pantry. I'm a big fan of.
Absolutely.
But what other? And I love that. I love that. What other organizations or groups do you work with?
So us in particular, some of the local organizations that we work with, obviously the Open Door, and I say this time and again, there's an invisible wall that separates our office with the Open Door and veterans going out there and accessing nutritional food. So we are willing to go up there and pick up groceries with them, or the Open Door comes down to us sometimes. They have this wonderful mobile market, and they set it up right in front of our office so that veterans and their spouses don't necessarily feel like they're taking something away from someone else. We also work closely with senior care, for example, or our local nursing homes, but we also work with state organizations. We work with the Lowell Vet Center, and we help service members connect with mental health services that they may be be in need of. We work with Veterans Northeast Outreach Center for any additional financial assistance that they may be able to award veterans. We work with HUD-VASH. So if a veteran is in need of some sort of housing voucher or housing stability. So there's a lot of agencies, and I'm sorry if I didn't mention them all, but there are so many partnerships that we work with that your local VSO has developed a relationship with, and if you walk in through that door, if you walk in through our door at any given day, we can pull out a contact for that.
Isn't that nice? Want to add anything, Brian?
Well, I was just going to say that even outside of just the organizations we work with, just our office itself, we're here to help, and some people might walk in the door and need a coat in the winter, need a sleeping bag, need just something, and these are things, we have these things that we're able to provide just in a moment's notice. You know, somebody in need doesn't know where else to turn. We can either connect them with the people that can help them, or in certain cases like that, we can help them at least temporarily on our own. Just make them a little more comfortable, get them through the night, you know, get them through whatever immediate crisis they're having while we try to put them in contact with the organizations that will be able to help them long term.
Absolutely.
What an invaluable resource,
Absolutely.
I have to tell you. You know, we have just a small time left, but just what I want to make sure we can cover as much as possible. You both have just illustrated this so beautifully. What else do you want to say? You know, we have a minute or so left. What else would you like to share before we wrap up today?
I'll just say, back on what you said about people coming in and checking in on a, you know, not all the time, but every now and then. I think it's good for any veteran. I mean, as I said, the office helped me when I came back from service because I didn't know a lot of what was out there. So I went in, they met me, they knew me. It was before V was there. But I developed a relationship with them. And if every veteran who comes home just doesn't know, you're never going to know everything. But if they can come in and just introduce themselves, I just got out of the military, this is what I did, this is what I know, we have that connection with them now.
Yes.
And if we ever think of something, oh, this program might be able to help this individual, we can reach out to them and say, have you heard of this? Are you informed on this? And I think it's important just for the veterans to have the relationship with the VSOs, the Veteran Service Officers, and our office.
That makes total sense.
If nothing else, you know, your local Veteran Service Officer is here to help you. No matter how much you feel you are worthy in some sense of services, they are here for you. You are not taking them away from someone else. These are services that are out there. If you need them, we can help you navigate them.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I can't thank you both enough for being here today with us. And again, just such really important information. And again, just very grateful for sharing this information with us.
No, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
Pleasure. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Timing with Everything, and look forward to having you on future shows.
More than ever, it's your sanctuary. But if you're caring for a loved one with advanced illness, it can feel isolating and worrisome. Care Dimensions can help. As Massachusetts' leading hospice provider, you can count on us for guidance, medical care, and support. We follow all COVID-19 safety precautions to protect you and your family, so you don't have to delay getting the care you need. Visit Care Dimensions online or give us a call.